Hello everyone, and welcome to our first panel from Application to Admission, Navigating the Evolving Landscape of Global Leading Universities. I'm Stephanie Beyer, Director of University Partnerships and Strategic Initiatives at Rosedale Global High School, and I'm honored to moderate today's conversation. In the current academic landscape, gaining admission to top global universities has become more competitive than ever. Universities are now placing greater emphasis on holistic admissions processes, diverse achievement pathways, and skills needed for success in an interconnected and technological world. As a result, the traditional understanding of student success is being redefined. We're privileged to have a panel of experts from 5 global top 100 universities who will share how universities in the UK, Canada, Germany, and Hong Kong are adapting their recruitment and admission strategies to meet these changes. Our panelists will provide their perspectives on the evolving definition of student success, offer a deeper understanding of their admissions processes and recruitment practices, and highlight innovative student services designed to support the transition from high school to higher ed. So it's my pleasure today to introduce today's panelists. So please welcome Lizzie Burrows, Director of Marketing, Recruitment and Admissions, Imperial College London, United Kingdom.
Hi everyone, really nice to be here today.
Tom Trower, International Student Recruitment, University of Oxford, United Kingdom.
Hello.
Sejbal Wu, Assistant Director, Business Development and Partnership Management, University of Toronto, Canada.
Everyone.
Dr. Dieter Janssen, Deputy Director and Head of Division, Academic and Social Affairs, RWTH Aachen University, Germany.
Hello, everyone, and guten Tag.
And last but not least, Gavin Ai, Deputy Director of Global Engagement, the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, Hong Kong.
Hello, everyone.
Once again, thank you all so much for being with us here today as we celebrate 10 years of global education at Rosedale Global High School. So to start our discussion, we'll explore today's theme on how the way we define and measure student success is shifting. This transformation is driving changes not only in teaching and learning innovation, but it's influencing admissions policies and reshaping recruitment strategies. So understanding these shifts is essential as they help navigate how institutions prepare students, not just for academic achievement, but for success beyond the classroom. So reflecting on this, I'd like to ask each of our panelists to share how the definition of student success has evolved at their institutions in recent years and how these changes have influenced their approach to recruitment and admissions. And I'll ask that each of you provide an example of a new strategy or program or perhaps initiative that demonstrate this shift. So Lizzie, I'll turn it over to you to start us off.
Great, thank you very much, everybody. So I think, student success has really changed over the last decade or so. And I think historically, and still, to a point, people think about student success in terms of how you are recognised in world rankings and how you score in various league tables. And whilst Imperial has some very good league table positions, currently second in the world in the QS World University Rankings and first in the UK and Europe, student success is really about sort of being much more holistic now. So whilst academic excellence remains crucial, we aim to cultivate well-rounded graduates who possess not only intellectual prowess, but also the skills and mindset to thrive in a complex world. Student experience is really important to us at Imperial. We want our students to have an exceptional experience with us from initial inquiry all the way through to being a student, then graduating, and then being one of our hundreds of thousands of alumni. So this means developing things like intellectual curiosity, critical thinking, problem-solving abilities, all of these things that sort of help you navigate the future state of the world. And some of that's including academic resilience, commitment to lifelong learning, innovation and entrepreneurial mindset. We have a huge piece of that where we have sort of hackathons and we have startups where we really support people just sort of creating their ideas for the first time in a risk-free environment. We have a global outlook and a collaborative spirit. We really promote international experiences, interdisciplinary collaboration and engagement with global challenges. And so I guess you asked for some of those initiatives. One of those is we've really looked at our degree offerings. So our latest undergraduate programme is our Economics, Finance and Data Science programme, which is designed to equip students with skills and knowledge to tackle real world problems using data-driven solutions and mathematical modelling. But we also have a new strategy, Science for Humanity, which is sort of for betterment of society and application of science to do that in order to sort of align with our commitment to teaching and research in order to be useful. We've launched new recruitment initiatives. So we have hackathons, we have in-country counsellor forums, new scholarships, and we have global hubs now in the US, Singapore and India to attract and support talented students. And we've really prioritised our well-being. So we have pastoral care, mental health support, we have hundreds of clubs and societies and an enhanced career service. And these changes are also reflected in our admissions process. So we now look beyond academic grades to really consider a candidate's personal qualities, experiences and potential to contribute to our diverse and driven community. So we're looking for students who are not only academically gifted, but really demonstrate a passion and intellectual curiosity for their chosen field and a commitment to really make a difference. Thanks.
Lizzie, thank you much for such a comprehensive answer. It's interesting to hear about those hackathons that you're doing through the recruitment office. So some really great initiatives there. Tom, speaking from another UK university, can you share some insight on this as well?
Yes, of course. And I think throughout this, as Lizzie and I have already maybe will mention that there will be some similarities with regards to us, but also some differences too. So with regards to Oxford, especially working there, we are a very old institution and we sometimes take quite a lot of time to do change. That isn't to say that we have changed a lot since the pandemic. So whilst we still have our traditions, of which we have many, are very slow moving, but the university is quite dynamic. So with regards to students and success, we are always going to be tied in with academic excellence. And this is, I will be quite blunt, I think, with some of my answers. And that is what we look for specifically. We don't really look for, well, we do not look for anything outside of interest in subject, academic ability and academic potential, which is why we have the application process that we have. And I imagine I'll maybe come back to that at points throughout. But with regards to success, Oxford has, and this is something that I've always been incredibly proud of and amazed by, our attrition. So our attrition rates are just over 1%. That means students who fall out, essentially, don't make it through to the end of their degree. And I think the UK average is around or over 10%. So to have such a low attrition rate means that, yes, obviously we have this very intense application process that students have to go through first, but it means that we're able to go, when we give a student an offer, we are very much like, yes, we know that you should thrive at Oxford and we will give you that support on the way through, and you will get to the end of that degree with what the classification a student gets is pretty much dependent on them with the support that we can give them. But we do know that students who have an Oxford degree at the end of it have really good outcomes with regards to going into the workforce and all of those metrics that people use. 6 months after graduating, you'll be in this or whatever it is. We have those, but really it's up to the student on how they want to define their success. And we can certainly provide, well, the university does provide that vehicle to provide that success for what they want. With regards to how we changed recently, or I guess innovations, we no longer, the international student recruitment team, don't really do in-person visits anymore. We have shifted everything online. So we provide year-round monthly webinars to counsellors, schools, as well as prospective students and to parents. And we're really happy and proud with that. We've essentially cut out a vast majority of air miles pretty much to be able to provide support to students and target it throughout the year to our application process.
Sorry. Thanks so much, Tom. As you said, I'm sure there'll be some similarities throughout the conversation, but also really interesting to hear some of those differences or nuances as well. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Sage to hear a Canadian perspective.
For sure. And as Tom mentioned, there will be a lot of similarities in our answers. And I would like to echo a lot of what both Lizzie and Tom have mentioned, because at the University of Toronto, student success really is defined by what the students are looking for and what skills and experiences they're hoping to get at their higher education to propel them forward after graduation. And at the University of Toronto, we offer a wide range, a fantastic selection of different opportunities, really designed to enhance that, whatever the student is looking for, and really foster that personal growth. Because our institution is world-class, we have cutting-edge facilities. If the student's looking for research, we're able to provide those opportunities. We have a very multicultural, vibrant campus community with students from all corners of the globe. Just to illustrate that, we do have a very significant student body, 77,000 undergraduate students from over 170 different countries and regions. So with that, also a wide range of different undergrad programs, over 700. So as you can imagine, there is something there for everyone. And ultimately, it boils down to what the student is looking for. And if they're looking for something, chances are we'll be able to provide them with that experience and exposure. In terms of like growth and then developing the skills and the holistic approach that Lizzie had mentioned earlier, U of T does offer innovative programs such as like co-op, experiential learning, internships, mentorship initiatives that really is designed to bridge that classroom academic learning as well as into real world experience. So I think through that, the students are able to gain those skill sets and knowledge and the lens to be able to pursue whatever it is that they define as their personal success after graduation. And we also recognize at U of T the growing interest and need for entrepreneurship and critical thinking. And we reflect this in a lot of our offerings, including more than 12 accelerators. And very, very excited to share that we generated more than 650 companies and over 10,000 jobs from these accelerators. And this really leads to the education needed to develop like our talent. These students are becoming world-leading talents. They adopt new technologies. They develop new innovative ideas. And this is really something that we want to encourage, and we hope that students can build the skills needed to have lasting connections and really become the future leaders of tomorrow.
Sage, thank you so much, and thank you for building on some of those skills and sharing how students are able to develop them. With that, I'll pass it over to Dieter coming from Germany. How would you respond to this?
Thank you. Actually, I'm astonished how similar we are over the continent and over the different systems. So I refrain from repeating all the things that have already been said, but I would like to make 4 points that I see as a special shift in the development of what is measured as student success. I think in the past, we've seen that student success often was you teach something, the people remember it by heart and be able to reproduce it. And this is more and more disappearing. Digitalization really puts an emphasis that this is not the skill that we need in a modern society. What we need is the competency-based ability to apply these things in real-world situations. And this is something where we have a strong focus as a university of technology. We see the necessity that knowledge is not simply there to be a nice to have, artist, but it's necessary that we can apply it in real-world situation in order to improve our work. And the second aspect that I would like to name is digital literacy. I don't think that a student today can be considered a success if this is not the case, because we are dependent on so many digital tools right now, and AI is making this development even faster. So digital literacy will play a huge role, and as a university, we need to ensure that the people are and at the top of this development. Also, what's more important in Germany, especially, we have the philosophy of Humboldt, who have this character forming, which Lizzie, I think, describes so perfectly. And this is now coming together with the aspect, on the one hand, we need to form the character, on the other hand, the people will have a career and they will want to succeed in their life, that they have their own goals, as Tom correctly pointed out, but we must bring these aspects together and give them the tools to be perfect, or to find the way that they want to find. The fourth aspect I would like to mention is really the international aspect, the global competence of students. We started our RWTH, really means Rhenish Westphalian High School, if you translate it literally, and started out as the School of Rhineland and Westphalia, but we are very much now an international global institution. And I think students need this global and international perspective. And for this reason, we need to take care also of those students who don't have the possibility to go abroad, and strengthen the internationalization at home and give them an international experience, which we, for example, do with special programs, additional certificate programs in which people can do additional module courses, exercises, language courses, in order to show that they gained this intercultural experience, even if they haven't been abroad.
Thanks so much, Tudor. I'm glad you talked on some of those technological and digitization pieces, because we do have a question later on in the panel which touches a bit more on that. And Gavin, I'll pass it over to you to close this part of the discussion.
Okay, so in Hong Kong, we are traditionally very unique that it is a city where East meets West. So in Hong Kong, the cultural diversity and inclusive environment is a unique nature of us. And in Hong Kong Polytechnic University, of course, we do not only focus on the excellence in research, teaching and learning, and other community services. We also emphasize on students' wide range of exposure. For example, we have ample opportunities for students' participation in service learning, in which they can apply what they have learned in their classes or research to benefit the mankind of Hong Kong or Asia or the world. So we have a lot of opportunities as well for their global perspectives. We have a good student exchange program, and also we have a global internship opportunity for our students. And we make use of government resources as well as our private donations to support our students to participate in any of these opportunities. So our students will not be hindered from participating in these kind of excellent opportunities offered by the university because of their financial background or other constraints. So the university is highly supportive to that. We have talked about a lot of soft skills, transformative skills. So when PolyU is looking at our admittees, we traditionally, of course, we look at the English language proficiency, how well they do academically, but we also look at the students' talents in other aspects. So we have developed a scheme we call STARS, that is in it is called Special Talents Admission and Recognition Scheme. So through this scheme, we look at students in the perspectives of sports, arts and culture, leadership, community services, and their involvement in STEM-related initiatives, so that students will have the opportunity to get admitted to the university if they perform well in any of these aspects. So this is a very quick sharing of how PolyU look at student success, and our admission process have been shaped accordingly.
Thank you so much, Gavin. It's great to hear about that support from the university in terms of ensuring accessibility and inclusion in some of those initiatives. So thanks so much. I think these contributions really highlight that how some of these changes and the shift in student success are really shaping the future of higher education. So in the next part of the discussion, we'd like to explore each institution's unique approach to admissions and recruitment and student success with panelist-specific questions. So this will help get a better sense of how these broader trends are being put directly into practice at leading universities. So let's hear, or we'll start by hearing from one of our panelists in the UK. So Lizzie, Imperial College London stands as one of the world's most prestigious institutions known globally for its cutting-edge research and leadership in science, technology, engineering, and business. As a top destination for students worldwide, it continues to set a standard for academic excellence. So we understand that for some of the courses and programs at Imperial, there's additional selection processes such as tests and interviews. Can you talk briefly a bit about this?
Thank you, Steph. And yes, I couldn't have put it better myself. That sounds like a very nice thing to say about Imperial. But we are very fortunate to receive a huge number, thousands of really brilliant, high caliber, talented students from all over the world. And I'm sure that I speak for Oxford there as well, where we are just so blessed to be able to receive the volume of applications we do. And so what's important is being able to make fair and transparent decisions, and making sure that the very best and the most talented do get access to study at somewhere like Imperial. Now, you probably know, but sort of generally with UK universities, you apply via ucas.com generally if you're applying to a UK institution. And so there are a few things you have to put in generally, like your predicted grades, your achievements so far. There's a personal statement where you sort of talk about your commitment to that subject area, and there's an academic reference. Now, what we're saying with some of our subjects at Imperial is that that's not quite enough for us, because there are so many talented students all sort of providing the same level of qualifications to us that we want to be able to differentiate. So we have interviewed and tested for a number of years now, particularly, for example, medicine, where we have the UCAT, and that's the same for a number of medical schools in the UK. But this year is different for us. We're introducing 2 new tests. We've gone into partnership with the University of Cambridge. And there are 2 new tests. One is called the ESAT, which is the Engineering Science Admissions Test, and the other is called the TAMUA, which is the test for maths for university admissions. And we have LSE, London School of Economics, Warwick, and Durham also using those tests. And the intention is that as we go through the years, or certainly my intention is that more universities will use this test. So you only have to sit one test for multiple universities, so that there isn't that sort of undue pressure on the candidate. So those tests, please do go online. You can Google ESAT or TAMUA on any search engine, and you'll be able to find the timings and how to register for these tests, etc. But what that does is it enables us to also put a sort of fair, transparent guiding line across that. So no matter your qualification, no matter which country you're coming from, there's a fair sort of test that we can assess candidates. We can have a benchmark and then decide who to interview after that for some of our more competitive subjects. And that allows us then to sort of have these sort of hard benchmark, but also with an interview be able to evaluate students' sort of hard and soft skills and their academic motivation, communication, suitability for the programme, etc. And of course, that's a two-way street, because it's an opportunity for applicants to learn more about the course and ask questions too. So what we want to do is have the most fair and most transparent way of sort of truly attracting students from across the world.
Thanks, Lizzie. Speaking about the number of applications, I know the UK is one of Rosedale's top destinations for Rosedale graduates. They actually received over 2,000 offers to UK universities this year, with 3 students receiving offers from Imperial. So we're very proud of those students. Do you have any advice to offer students or parents or school counselors to help them prepare for those applications?
Yeah, of course. And, I think some of this can be sort of attributed to the UK as well, is that UK institutions may be different to other countries, although we'll hear from other panel members, is that we're sort of unashamedly academic and course specific. So when we're looking at things like the personal statement and the academic reference, we're looking for that true intellectual curiosity into that subject area. So when you're thinking about sort of super curricular activities or extracurricular activities, just make sure that when you're thinking about those, think about how they relate to the course that you're applying to, and sort of make sure that that's what you're writing down. So whilst we're all very proud that you might be able to swim across a swimming pool, that's lovely, but if it doesn't relate to physics in some way, for example, then it's maybe a waste of a line in your personal statement. So really think about that link, point, example, explain when you're doing a personal statement. The tests, there are for the ESAT and the TIMUA, there's lots of practice papers available online, so you can go and have a look at the sort of questions that would be asked. You don't need to revise for them per se. It should be material that you've already covered, but that will be sort of a good gateway in. So I think really focus on that personal statement and just make sure it is UK specific. And something else to say is that personal statement, it's for all 5 institutions or courses that you will apply for. And we get that. We understand that you're going to apply to other universities other than Imperial. So just make sure that you're, again, really focusing on that course and what truly inspires you and how you've gone above and beyond the curriculum to really show that motivation and commitment.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. That's some great advice. So let's turn it over to Tom from Oxford. Oxford is a world-leading center of learning, teaching, and research, and the oldest university in the English-speaking world. In 2023, and building a bit on that theme of the number of applications, Oxford received more than 23,000 applications from 160 countries for just 3,300 undergrad places. So really highlighting the university's competitive admissions rate. So Tom, given the highly competitive admissions to Oxford, what specific academic qualities or experiences make an applicant stand out? And also beyond academics, I know you touched a bit on this earlier, so it'll be interesting to hear more in depth. What non-academic experiences or personal qualities, if any, can help distinguish an applicant in such a competitive pool?
Yes, I'm going to have to fire the bluntless alarm off now. Thank you, Steph. So the answer to that very short answer to that second part of the question is nothing, really. So non-academic and non-academic experiences that set someone apart, it doesn't come into our thinking. The longer answer is, and Steph kind of touched on this, which is good. So sorry, Lizzie touched on this, so I can say what Lizzie said, but I'll go further. There are extracurricular activities in the UK from a UK perspective. That is running, jumping, climbing trees. That's volunteering on the weekend. It's Duke of Edinburgh. These are all fantastic things to do as a young person to build character, gain experiences, get social capital, cultural capital. Fantastic. Really, really good. Fundamentally, from an Oxford perspective, we would not care about those, and to put it bluntly, and that is that. However, they are really useful to show transferable skills and soft skills. So studying at Oxford is an intense academic environment. You're looking at 40 hours plus a week, very short terms. Having determination and commitment and resilience, which you may have got from volunteering every weekend for the past 3 years or being the school captain and whatever this is, that's useful. It doesn't come into our thinking with regards to an offer, but it certainly helps us build a picture. With regards to what we do want is academic ability, academic potential, and interest in the subject at hand. So both us and Imperial, what Lizzie was talking about there, with regards to our application processes, we will have interviews for every student. You can only get an offer if you have attended an interview. There may also be an admissions test. You may also need to provide written work. You will also have to do via a UCAS application, a personal statement, and have an academic reference and have predicted grades or grades you've already done. We need to have that academic ability. So that's the grades you have now, and the academic potential we can see through admissions test and also the interview. The interview is for us a mock tutorial. A tutorial is how students will be learning when they're at Oxford. So that is with an expert on the topic and then 1 or 2, potentially 3 students. So that is what we're looking for there. With regards to the types of activities, they are super curricular. So academic in focus, but outside of normal schooling. That can be anything. There is no magic or silver bullet with regards to what book should I read, should I do this? It can be anything. It can be a YouTube video on something. It could be shadowing somebody in their workplace. As long as, and Lizzie touched on this as well, with regards to reflection, if that academic reflection is there on, oh, I did this and it made me want to do this, that is fantastic. That's what we're looking for, because it's academic curiosity, and that's what we want. Academic ability, academic potential, and interest in the subject.
Thanks so much, Tom, and I appreciate your direct answers there as well. So shifting over from admissions, I I guess it's important to understand the admissions processes, but it's also essential for students to consider how they're going to thrive in different environments. And I think Tom and Lizzie, you're both looking for that in terms of student interest and how they'll succeed. So success often requires more than academic excellence once students are admitted to universities, and understanding what qualities are valued can really help applicants better prepare for the challenges and opportunities ahead. So Sage, the University of Toronto is one of the world's leading research-intensive universities and the highest-ranked institution in Canada, renowned for its rigorous academic environment. Also proud to share that this year, 268 Rosedale students were accepted into U of T, demonstrating its strong appeal to students from all over the world. So Sage, could you shed some light on the student and academic culture at the University of Toronto, and perhaps talk a bit about what kind of student thrives in this environment?
For sure. So it's actually very interesting here at the University of Toronto because at the admission stage, my answer is going to actually be very similar to Tom's, where we are focusing on student academic history, their academic abilities, and being able to demonstrate that they're able to thrive in a very, very challenging and demanding academic environment here at the University of Toronto. But as mentioned earlier, we do have a very significant student body. And just last year, we admitted over 17,000 full-time students for our first entry undergraduate program. So very, very diverse, a very international community. But with that also comes a very vibrant student body. So as you can imagine, we attract some of the top minds from all over the world, every single type of individual you can think of. So there's no set cookie cutter definition of what that student looks like. And with thousands of undergrad students across our 3 campuses, one thing that I do want to say is in terms of the breadth of skill sets that these students bring to our campuses. We always encourage our students to be proactive, they're adaptable, and hopefully open-minded in an environment that truthfully is very, very international and ever-changing. And at our institutions, there are countless opportunities, not just through academics or research or learning, but there's thousands of clubs and extracurriculars for our students to take on new challenges, look for opportunities for personal growth. And I think that element is what really propels students to increase their skills, to build those holistic skills needed to succeed after graduation. And that might look like different things for each individual. So we do ask that students really take a look at what they're looking for in their university experience. And then at the university, chances are we do offer those opportunities to grow those experiences. There's something there for everyone.
Thank you so much, Sage. So I'd like to shift our focus over to 2 emerging destinations for international students, Germany and Hong Kong. So Dieter, RWTH Aachen is Germany's largest technical university. It's renowned for its cutting-edge research and strong industry connections. The university has become a popular choice for international students thanks to some of these innovative programs and global partnerships. And I think this is also reflective of Germany's continued international student growth. I read recently that the DAAD has reported a 52% increase in the past decade, and we're seeing those numbers grow. So I'm wondering if you could share any recent national or state policy changes that support international students studying in Germany. And additionally, how has your university adapted its recruitment strategies in response to these changes to better attract and create opportunities for international applicants?
Well, I need to start my answer with a good German word, Fachkräftemangel. Actually, this is what drives German policy right now. We have a negative birth-death ratio. And the prognosis is that we will have a shortage of experts, and this is what the German word Fachkräftemangel means. And, for international students, this means a unique opportunity because Germany is really having its doors wide open. The government is doing everything to ensure that visa policies get easier, get more streamlined, and that it's easier than ever to get a residence permit and later on a work permit if you find a suitable work. So We are talking a lot here in Germany about welcome culture, on onboarding and these things, and a lot of programs are being sponsored by the federal government, by the local government, and by the universities themselves. We ourselves have a program instituted now that is called Fit for Success at RWTH Aachen, and it's a program that really caters to the needs of international students who need first information about how they are to study at our university, what they are to expect, how it works here. And we are using very much digital means for this, especially courses that we offer online, so that people get to know us and we get to know them. That makes it easier for us to decide whether we want to take them on and whether they are the right person for us. Because we have them in a course, we see their academic abilities, their academic passion that they have for their field, and can make this judgment easier. But we also make the onboarding process for the internationals easier. Germany, of course, has an obstacle for international students, the language. Our undergraduate programs are completely in German. There's no undergraduate program in English so far, but our master's programs are in English. So we need to have a special help for international students who come to us, and to give them language courses, to give them time to come or to really find their way into our system, which can sometimes differ from other systems. However, all the help is there now. We have instituted this program. We have very positive experiences, and I can only wrap this up with once more. Germany's doors are wide open. It's a unique opportunity, and it's worth a look.
Thank you so much, Dieter, for shedding light on some of those changes in Germany. So with that, I'd like to hear from Hong Kong. So Gavin, the Hong Kong Polytechnic University is a world-class institution. It's focused on innovation, social responsibility, and interdisciplinary research. Like Germany, Hong Kong is also seeing an increase in international student numbers, in part driven by some new government policies. So Gavin, could you discuss a bit about the recent policies introduced by the Hong Kong government that support international students? And additionally, how are universities like PolyU adapting their recruitment strategies to take advantage of these changes? And what specific countries are being targeted in these efforts?
Sure. So as you have rightly pointed out, the Hong Kong government has relaxed the cap of the non-local or undergraduate population of the public universities of Hong Kong by a double, from 20% to 40% starting from this academic year. So as PolyU is one of the 8 publicly funded universities in Hong Kong, our quota of admissions and the combination of students is regulated by the government regulations. So this good news of doubling the intake quota of non-Hong Kong local students reflect a sharp increase of the possible admittees of our university who are recruited from globally. So in PolyU's case, we want to diversify our student population. This is not only to, for the sake of diversity, but it is also one of our educational mission, that is to allow our students to have the internationalization on campus, even if the students do not go out to have, for example, student exchange programs. They will have the opportunity to live with their folks from all over the world in the student hostel, or they will participate in learning or research on campus. So even if they are in Hong Kong, in our campus, they will have the opportunity to interact with students from different backgrounds. Our medium of instruction is English, so students do not need to know any Cantonese or Putonghua in order to study with us in Hong Kong. If you ask about our focus of the targeted countries to recruit students, I would say that we target students from all over the world where students speak good English. as our curriculum is broadly and internationally recognized. So as long as students can meet our admission criteria, and we accept a wide range of international qualifications as well as local curricula. So students are welcome to consider PolyU and study in Hong Kong if they would like to.
Thank you so much, Gavin. I think some of those insights and hearing about those initiatives from the Hong Kong government helps to provide an understanding of the overall appeal of Hong Kong as a study destination. So thank you. So thank you to everyone so far for their contributions. I'd like to shift our focus to a bit more of a broader discussion that addresses some common questions. One of Rosedale's key objectives is to support students as they transition from high school to higher education, and many students and their families are eager to understand how this support continues at the post-secondary level. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask Dieter, Gavin, and Tom, what unique support systems or programs does your university offer to help international students transition successfully, both academically and socially? So Dieter, I'll turn it over to you to start us off.
Well, we of course we have the usual services, and I think Lizzie at the beginning made a wonderful list of what's there for students, and I think all these universities have this. What is a little bit special in our universities, we have some programs targeted especially at talented students. One is a fast track admission program that allows you to get faster into a bachelor degree program, especially for people who normally, if they wanted to be eligible to study in Germany, would have to go to additional courses or an additional program. In this program, we really look into language capabilities of the students and bring them to the level where they are very independent in their use of the German language. We give them advice on how to avoid beginners' mistakes. Our experience is if you have a head start in your studies, then the rest is rather not really easy, but it is easier than normal. And with this head start, we want to provide the students. And the other thing is, I mentioned already, Fit at Successful at WTHR. This is also one of these holistic approaches where we look at all the needs of international students and cater to them so that international students not fall through any kind of system in which was established with an eye to the local students, but not to the international. The international get this special care in terms of where they have their needs and get the support that they have. And I could now start with at the beginning. It's the outreach programs that we have, the preparatory courses, the counseling service. But actually, I guess I don't need to give you the full list of these services once more. But just up with the remark, there are these special programs, and I would invite people really to get informed, to contact us, to talk with us, to give us an idea about their specific situation, and then we will advise them in which direction these programs for them lie.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And Gavin, over to you. Are there any a specific program or initiative at PolyU to support this?
Yes, I would highlight two examples here. The first one is that we have a cultural ambassador scheme. So this is to help especially students from originally not Hong Kong to get used to the environment of Hong Kong, and of course also in PolyU easier when they are into a new system, a new environment, and away from their families, whom they used to live closely with. So this ambassador scheme can let students have the opportunity to mingle with students from different cultures, as well as the students who have the opportunity to be the ambassadors themselves, so that they will have more chance to interact with students both locally from Hong Kong and from different parts of the world. The second highlight is about our accommodation. We have a student hostel building, which is just next to our campus. And both PolyU, including our student hostel, is located in the heart of Hong Kong, which is near Tsim Sha Tsui and the Victoria Harbour, so that students can get access to most of the attractions in Hong Kong and conveniently connected with all the daily necessities by walking distance. So this is another advantage to allow students to get used to the new environment in Hong Kong, and all the colleagues in PolyU are very supportive. So the students have no problem to get adapted to the study life in Hong Kong Polytechnic University.
Thanks so much, Gavin. And Tom, do you have anything to add or anything to share on this question for us?
Yes, I mean, the University of Oxford does have, as our other two colleagues do at their universities, lots of things. However, we are collegiate, so we are made up of around 30-ish undergraduate colleges, very, very short. They are where students live, eat, teach, learn, all of that stuff. What we have within every college is something called a JCR, which is a junior common room, which is both a physical space, so an actual room. Usually they're quite nice. They've got like leather chairs and chandeliers and things, very Oxfordy. But they also are a student body. So the junior common room also has the JCR, which is student-led, student-run for the undergraduate students. And within each JCR, pretty much, I think, each JCR has an international student rep. So that is an international student who is specifically on within the JCR looking after all of the other international undergraduate students as well. So they will make sure that there are things put in place that international students need. For example, sometimes colleges can give extra days. You can bookend. So very short term, students have to leave and go home. Some colleges may offer more accommodation, or they can allow you to come early or stay a bit later. Things like that, which are really useful that international students would really benefit them. The other thing that we have is the college parent system. So within each college, you will have first, second, third and fourth year students, or the fourth year students, I guess, are no longer undergrads, but they are students who opt into being a parent for an incoming fresher or first year student. What this means is that an incoming international student, in this case, would have parents, whether it be two mums, two dads, mum and dad, whatever it is. And these are second year students who are there to take in the first year student and to really help them through the first couple of weeks or months of their time at the University of Oxford in their college. And they can obviously orient them to the college itself. The city's not that big, so they can show them around, take them out for a meal. And that's really, really useful. And lots of students participate in that. And then obviously then you can start looking at grandparents and great grandparents, and you can trace your lineage back to Bill Clinton if you want to. But the point is that it's a really useful support network there for students, ready-made. So they arrive and it's there for them to take a hold of.
That's really wonderful. And it's interesting to hear about these great initiatives happening in three very different regions and cultures of the world. So thank you. For the second question, I'd like to ask Sage and Lizzie, and I'm just trying to be cognizant of time here, but I'd like to ask the two of you a different question as it relates to your roles specifically in recruitment. I know this was touched on a little bit earlier, but how has the rise of digital learning and technological advancements like AI, virtual tools, or data-driven approaches influenced your recruitment and admission strategies? And Sage, I'll pass it over to you to start.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. So for recruitment, the rise of digital learning and tech advancements has definitely allowed us to connect with students from more countries and a much wider audience that we may not have been able to support before. But now everyone's like very familiar and comfortable with online platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom, so on and so forth. And so students are just one call away from a university they want to learn about, want to connect with. And we're also very, very eager to be able to provide that support for the student well before they even think about universities, if there's something that they're curious about, or even preparing for selecting necessary courses or exposure to specific experiences that students might be curious about. We'll be able to provide that insight and guidance. And to be honest, on the flip side of that, as we touched on earlier, for admission specifically for the University of Toronto, not much has changed since we're primarily merit-based. But in terms of digital learning, tech advancements, one tiny word of caution to students, if there's any supplementary application that you come across, specifically for applying for the University of Toronto in this context, only 12 out of our 700 some undergrad programs have a supplementary application. But if there are any video or written components or anything that does require the student to kind of showcase or expand on their personal experiences, I do want to highlight that tech-generated information does tend to sound very similar. So a lot of universities do tend to pick up on that. So just a little tip and trick there. In terms of learning, ultimately, when you are at the institution, it boils down to your instructor and the program, to be honest, because it's up to the instructors and the professors to determine how they want to incorporate digital learning and tech advancement into their individual courses, and it will vary greatly from course to course. So again, be agile, be flexible, open-minded, and be prepared for all the different experiences going into university.
Thank you, Sage, and great advice on the tech-generated supplemental material. So Lizzie, I'll pass it over to you to close out this round.
Thanks, Steph, and yeah, Sage. Yeah, I agree with absolutely everything that she said there. So I think I would just add to that I'm sure many of us, but the digital sort of progression has meant lots of taster lectures that people can access. So I think for the student that's really beneficial. Virtual open days, campus tours that people can do from sort of their seat in their dining room or lounge or whatever. And of course, this panel, we're all talking at various different times during our days, and we wouldn't have been able to do that with the various digital innovations. So there's lots, I think, that's on the student side that enables them to really research. But I think with that, make sure that you're taking various things with pinches of salt. So it's great to hear, real humans talk about this sort of stuff. But actually, when you're doing your research, go and talk to real humans that are studying at your university. And that's where digital has helped as well. So go onto online platforms, go to the student room, for example, for UK universities, use platforms like UniBuddy, where you can ask real people, what's it like to study at that university? What's the best part? What's the worst part? Get some honest answers. And I think that's where digital has really helped. So that peer-to-peer piece. And then from a missions perspective, we can interview people all over the world. Data has really helped us enable to be sort of really target students that we think would be thrive at Imperial. And again, just with AI, we're all sort of embracing that at the moment, right? And we're all testing about what's most beneficial. But, as Sage said, I think when it comes to being a student, we're using AI. We're saying, okay, use AI to answer that question and now critique it. Now go back and say what was wrong with that and why AI didn't work in this scenario. So yeah, beware of those tools just to start with, but use them to sort of enhance your studies, but not to replace them.
Thank you so much. Some great advice from everyone here. To close out our session, I know there's been a lot of great advice throughout this conversation, but I'd like to ask each of you to offer one key piece of advice for students as they prepare to apply to or study at your university. And I'll start with Tom. You're just in the top of my screen. So any advice to close off our session today?
Thank you for making me go first, because I think everybody's going to give similar kind of advice here, so I can say the first thing. But I mean, from an Oxford perspective, and I guess other universities too, especially, it is course choice. Make sure that, especially with the two UK universities here, we will operate slightly differently to how you may have it in your own country. Make sure that you're fully on board with your course choice and have evidence of interest. Not lots. It doesn't have to be lots and lots and lots. As long as you've got 2 or 3 really quality nuggets of showing that interest in the course. That's what we want. We want to see where that spark comes from and how you show that interest.
Thanks, Tom. And Gavin?
If you are considering to study in Hong Kong and also Polytechnic University, there are two highlights for you from me here. Number one is that you can look at the cost of the tuition. In Hong Kong, although we provide a world-class education and widely recognized degrees, but our tuition fee and the relevant living costs are comparatively lower than many parts in the world. So this is a tip for you. And another highlight is that we have an early round application deadline, which is on November 19th, as we have a number of applications every year. So if you are considering PolyU, you are recommended to submit your applications with all your supporting documents, preferably before the end of this early round deadline, so that you will earn a higher chance of being screened through and admitted to the university. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gavin. And Dieter?
That being first an advantage, he could make the point already. So I would like to make another point. Once you are at the university, my advice would be proactive. That is, do not wait until good things come to you, but be proactive. Reach out for the good things. I think all the universities that are here present have great support structures, but they might not come to you. They might be there, but you have to actively approach them. If you see an obstacle, if you feel an impediment or so on, do not think that you're alone. There is this help. Reach out for it. So be proactive. That would be my piece of advice.
Thanks, Dieter. And Sage?
I have to agree with Dieter 100% on that, being very, very proactive in reaching out to the institutions you're interested in, and to build on top of that research. Make sure that you are taking the time to collect the key information about each of the institutions you're interested in. And some students find it really useful to have a comparison chart, list out what programs are available, what are needed in terms of required courses, building off of what Tom was talking about, comparing tuition, planning out what the timeline is, because various institutions will have different deadlines, different document deadlines, application deadlines. So making sure that you are fully planned out so you're not scrambling at the last minute trying to catch a deadline. So I think that is kind of like a summary of what I would advise. Be proactive, do your research, reach out to the different support structures at all of the different institutions, and make a clear plan for yourself how your application year will go.
Thanks so much, Sage. And last but not least, Lizzie, I'll turn it over to you.
Gosh, got a challenge here, haven't I? What bingo can I go with? So I agree with absolutely what everyone has said already. So my piece of advice would be, in addition to sort of doing all that research, is we would all, how wonderful is it that you can study wherever you like in the world? That's incredible. All this choice and all these different courses and different country systems. So the research is important, but I think sort of really embrace that opportunity. Also know that quite a lot of universities around the UK and the world, they really want you to study with them. They really do. So that means there's a lot of marketing. And marketing is great. It showcases the very best of every institution. Brilliant. And that means you probably have a number on your list that you want to go through. How on earth do you start to decide? It's sort of like our admissions process, right? How do you even start? So do your research with current students, peer-to-peer, ask people what it's really like to study there. But ultimately, when it gets down to it, some of this is going to have to be down to gut decision. And I know people won't like that because you like your data and you like your research. But ultimately, when you've done enough research, some of that is going to be, can I live here for 3, 4, 5 years of my life? Am I going to come out the other end having the best years of my life and sort of really enjoyed my experience? Only you are going to know that. All the stats, etc., will help you, but that's something for you. And I think the other thing I would say is that everybody's here to help. Everybody wants you to do well. You've got amazing guidance counsellors, but you've also got sort of reps at every university that are just really wanting you to make the right decision for you, because the best students will be the people that really want to come to that institution, and then they will thrive in turn. So yeah, I would say sort of lots of research, but some of it has to be down to sort of personal choice as well.
Thank you so much from each of you. Really great advice for our students, as well as for educators and counselors as well. So I'd like to really express gratitude to each of you for taking your time, your expertise, and making those meaningful contributions today to this conversation. And also thank you to the audience for your engagement. And I hope these conversations continue as we work together, especially as we work to support students in achieving success, no matter how that definition is being redefined. So please enjoy the rest of the Global Student Success Forum, and thank you again for joining us.